chaos at Ibrox as Russell Martin faces a storm of boos and comparisons to past sackings, while Kris Boyd tears into the transfer window, claiming not a single signing is an upgrade. A shock. £8 million move for a rookie goalkeeper has been given the green light, and Nobel Mendy's multi-million-pound deal edges closer despite fears. Stay with me, because what's coming will shake the season before it's even begun. Rangers are closing in on yet another big addition this summer, with 20-year-old Real Betis defender Nobel Mendy set to become signing number 10 under Russell Martin. Talks have been ongoing all weekend, and by all accounts an agreement is just about wrapped up. The fee, depending on which camp you believe, it's somewhere in the region of €4 million to as much as £5 million, a serious investment for a player who has barely had a taste of top-flight football. Now, let's not kid ourselves. This is a player with only 6 La Liga appearances to his name, plus a couple of runouts in European competition. On paper, it's not the sort of pedigree that screams guaranteed success in the Scottish Premiership, but here's the thing. The lad wants to be here. Rayo Vallecano fancied him, but he's told Betis his heart is set on Ibrox, and that sort of commitment is exactly what you want to see in a new signing. He's tall, left-sided, versatile enough to play full-back, and will be joining a defensive line already bolstered by Nasser Giga and Emmanuel Fernandez. Of course, the timing is tasty. Martin's side have had a rough start domestically, already trailing by 4 points after just 2 games, but the European picture is much brighter after that thumping 3-0 first leg win over Victoria Plzen. The hope now is that Mendy can be registered in time for the Champions League playoff against either Club Brugge or Red Bull Salzburg. Yes, it's a gamble. Spending £5 million on a defender who's barely broken into the Betis first team is risky, especially when the club is still carrying a £17 million loss from last year. But sometimes you have to take a leap for a player you believe can grow into the shirt. And if Mendy does settle quickly, he could be a rock in this side for years to come. Is spending £5 million on a largely untested 20-year-old a bold stroke of ambition for Rangers, or an expensive mistake waiting to happen while Celtic are licking their lips at the risk? Rangers may be about to make a big move in the goalkeeping department, with Sheffield Wednesday's Pierce Charles firmly on Russell Martin's radar. The 20-year-old Northern Ireland international has been given glowing praise from none other than Anthony Elanga, who called him an amazing goalkeeper after facing him earlier this year. Reports suggest Wednesday are willing to sell if Rangers stump up £8 million, and Martin now has the green light to go for him. The motivation is clear. Jack Butland's time at Ibrox hasn't quite lived up to the billing. His shot-stopping has been fine, but his distribution has been shaky, and Martin wants a keeper who can start attacks as well as stop them. Charles, despite only making 8 championship appearances last season, boasts a passing accuracy of over 76%, better than both Butland and Arsenal's Karl Hein, another name linked with the club. That fits perfectly with Martin's desire to build from the back, even if the price tag is steep for someone so young and inexperienced. It's a bold call. Charles may have huge potential, but he's hardly tested at the highest level. Then again, Rangers can't afford to keep coughing up possession cheaply when trying to break down stubborn defenses, and a modern keeper with confidence on the ball could make a huge difference. Should Rangers be gambling £8 million on a rookie keeper when there's already so much pressure on Martin to stop Celtic? Kris Boyd has certainly pulled no punches, laying into Rangers' summer transfer business and questioning whether any of the arrivals actually improve the starting 11. The former Ibrox striker isn't buying the idea that Russell Martin's rebuild has brought real upgrades, pointing out that while some of the new boys have shown flashes, none have convincingly surpassed those they've replaced. He singled out names like ex-Leeds United midfielder Joe Rothwell, and Wolves loanee Nasser Giga, claiming neither is a clear step up from what the squad already had. Max Aarons, according to Boyd, is definitely not an upgrade on James Tavernier, while Rothwell hasn't yet shown he's better than Nico Raskin. Even the lively JD Gassama, who's chipped in with important goals in Europe, hasn't convinced Boyd that the level has been raised, and Giga, despite starting well, is only on loan. Boyd's gripe is that while Rangers have managed to pull off classy performances in Europe, such as that commanding 3-0 win over Victoria Plzen, the domestic form has been flat. 2 1-1 draws against Motherwell and Dundee have already left the side trailing in the league, and Boyd warns that Martin's early tenure is lacking the kind of instant domestic lift other managers have managed in the past. He also credited Dundee for frustrating Rangers, particularly after they went down to 10 men, but hinted that the same defensive lapses keep reappearing. This boils down to a stinging verdict, plenty of activity in the market, but no sign yet that the squad is actually stronger where it matters most. Is Boyd being brutally honest about a transfer window that's failed to deliver real quality? Or is this just another cheap pop to stir the pot while Celtic watch and smirk? It's been a stormy start to life at Ibrox for Russell Martin, and the weekend's draw with Dundee has only poured more petrol on the fire. Yes, Rangers hold a commanding 3-0 lead over Victoria Plzen in Europe, but domestically it's been stumbles and frustration, already 4 points behind Celtic after just 2 matches. Saturday's scenes inside Ibrox were nothing short of volatile. Boos rippled through the stands for much of the second half, with the atmosphere feeling uncomfortably reminiscent of the dying days under Beale, Clement, or Van Bronckhorst, when Lyle Cameron, arguably Rangers' brightest spark on the day, was hauled off for Nico Raskin. The groans were loud. When Kieran Dowell replaced Mohamed Diamand, the jeers shook the place. It was raw, restless and pointed. Gary Keown in the Scottish Daily Mail described it as end-of-days stuff, and supporters sensing fragility, players shrinking, and a manager who needs wins fast before the boardroom axe starts swinging. And it's a fair point. In recent years, once the Ibrox crowd turns on a manager, the writing's rarely far from the wall. Interestingly, Neil Lennon, yes, that Neil Lennon, has jumped to Martin's defense, blasting what he calls the bloodlust surrounding the situation. He says it's madness to judge a manager after 1 or 2 league games, especially when juggling high-stakes European qualifiers and bedding in a raft of new signings. He's urging patience, even likening it to spells he struggled with himself as a manager. Still, patience is a rare commodity at Ibrox, and history tells us that poor domestic form will only crank up the pressure. Martin's challenge now is simple but brutal. Win, and win quickly, or risk becoming the next name on the list of managers swallowed up by the expectation. Is the fierce reaction from the Ibrox crowd a justified demand for instant success, or are some of you in danger of helping Celtic by hounding another manager out too soon? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.